All right, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this one, but I think it's important. Let's dive into it. All right, Native American flute players. I know that this is a big controversial topic in all of the forums, all over every platform, and we have flutes that are tuned to 440 hertz, 432 hertz, 528 hertz, all over the place, right? And a lot of these flutes are tuned that way because we believe that certain frequencies are better for sound healing, whether they're for a certain chakra or a certain feeling or whatever it might be. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to this, and I think it's really important for people to understand it. So how did we get here in the first place? Why are we tuned to 440 hertz for standardized music all over the world? And why are we talking about 432 and all these different frequencies to make music? Where did this come from? Well, in 1711, actually, a man named John Shore, he invented the tuning fork, and that's when the standard pitch and things started to really start to gather and make some sort of sense all over the world. Before that, the note A was just like the lowest note that monks would sing, but it really didn't mean anything because that changed from village to village and from country to country, and there was no real note of A. It's just what people did, and it's what they called it. We really need to talk about equal temperament when we talk about this kind of stuff. So actually, if you tuned every single note to 432 hertz or 528 hertz, it actually wouldn't sound very good because it wouldn't make any sense, because that's not equal temperament. Equal temperament is something that we have come up with so music sounds good. So you could play a really beautiful chord and have it sound good together and not have certain notes sound sharp or flat. So listen to this. Now that's the difference between listening to something that is all in 432 or actually has equal temperament, right? So one of them is out of tune and one of them isn't. So after the tuning fork was invented and people started really experimenting with really solid frequencies and knowing where they could or couldn't go or what sounded good to them, there became this kind of battle, and some people they will refer it to as pitch inflation. All sorts of composers all over the world started kind of battling and going higher and higher with their pitches and frequencies to kind of be the next new thing, right? But as the pitch got higher and higher and higher, singers really struggled because the voice remains the same, right? You could tune your instrument higher, but the voice is human. So that's where we stayed, right? So in 1859, I believe it was, the first standard was actually set to make a specific standard of what all music should be at. And that was by the French government in 1859, I think that's what I said. And that pitch was actually 435 hertz. Right now, remember, we're still only tuning that hertz to the note of A, and everything else has equal temperament, so it sounds good, right? Because if it doesn't have equal temperament, it's not going to sound good together. These chords and everything will not sound good together if every single note is tuned to 435 or 432 or whatever you're doing, right? So that was the first standard that we had as a world of music, 435. Now, as soon as this standard was set, there was a composer named Giuseppe Verdi, I think that's how you pronounce it, and he thought that was too high. And so he was really doing a push for 432 hertz. And that's really the first time that we heard this number 432, and the first time that people really started talking about it, specifically, and that's what we should be doing. So there was quite a bit of pushback about this whole 435 pitch. After a while, it was the British that actually fought back, and they wanted to higher the pitch a little bit because of different temperatures and things like that. So they went up to 439 hertz. And I guess a handful of scientists explained that was a prime number, and so they moved it up to 440. So around 1925, American musical instruments, the manufacturers started tuning all of their instruments at 440 hertz. So after American instruments were exported all over the world, this 440 really became more popular and it really started to take off. In 1955, the 440 hertz standardization really became the thing. The International Standard for Organization voted on this, and it became a thing. So after learning a little bit about all this stuff, what does it all really mean? So is 432 more healing than 440? Is 528 more healing than 432 or 440? Well, let's talk about that for a second. I think really it's a matter of preference. And also I think it's really important to understand that we're human beings with organic breath. And there's not really any way that our breath is going to be able to sustain 432 hertz constantly. So we're not even going to be able to do that. And not every note on your flute is going to be at 432 hertz, even if we could hold that frequency with our human breath, which we can't. So I think at the end of the day, it really is a preference. You know, some people really prefer to hear music at a lower pitch or a higher pitch. And that's awesome, and that's okay. So there's nothing wrong with playing a flute that's tuned to 432 or 528 or 440 or whatever it is that you like. There's nothing wrong with that. It's wonderful, and you should go after what gives you joy and makes this fun for you. I think that there's also something very valid about the placebo effect. Now, the placebo effect is a very real thing, right? So your mind can help you perceive things and convince you of things that truly can help you, right? It's like mind over matter kind of thing. You could absolutely get into something with your brain and that can help you and you could go forward with it. They've done so many placebo tests with different medication and giving certain people water pills and things like that, and they have the same effect as the actual medication, sometimes even more of an effect. Placebo is very real. So this all comes down to what you prefer. Does 432 hertz actually vibrate at a specific thing that helps heal your heart or your throat chakra or anything like that? There's no real science on that. There's people exploring it. There might be some truth to it, but even if all of it's true, your breath is never going to be able to sustain that frequency. And all the notes on your flute aren't going to be at that frequency. What it really helps with is if you have a backing track or a backing sound or a singing bowl that's in 432 hertz, and you have a flute of the same key that's also in 432 hertz, it's going to play really well with that. Because if you play a 440 hertz flute to a singing bowl or a backing synth sound that's 432 hertz, well, your 440 flute is going to be a little bit sharp and it's not going to sound as good. So it's really down to preference. Music can heal regardless of what frequency it's in. Music is amazing. Music is medicine, right? So no matter what frequency that you prefer, no matter what you like to do, it heals and it's great. And I think that a good rock and roll song can heal you just as good as a new age song or a jazz song or whatever hits you. Whatever you prefer, whatever you like, we all have a song that's dramatically changed our lives. That's healing. That's music. That's medicine. If your thing is a new age vibe and 432 hertz or 528 hertz, that's fantastic. And if it helps you, that's incredible. And you should keep pursuing that. Even if you believe everything that I'm saying is not true, you should still go after it. If it helps you, you should go after that. Because whether it's placebo effect or maybe there's even some truth to it, you should go after it. Because music is healing. I hope this helps with a little bit of information just about how we got here in the first place and what we're all talking about. I also want to give a shout out to the YouTube channel Adam Neely. His last name is spelled Neely. He does a video that I'm gonna link in the end of this video that's really, he goes into this much deeper, and I actually got some of this information from his channel, but some other stuff from some other places too. Adam Neely is an incredible bass player and musician and has a great channel with almost 2 million subscribers. So he's fantastic, and he really goes into this much, much deeper. I hope that helps. Don't beat up on me too bad about the whole sound healing thing. I know the Native American flute world is very sensitive, and we don't like to talk about this stuff, but it's really interesting. So whatever floats your boat, go after it. Have fun, play music, and love it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it as always. Man, I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. I hope you get everything out of it that I'm trying to convey. So thank you guys. I love you. Please hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Help me out. I love you guys. Have a great day.